Hello, I'm Jessica Ebert, the Director of Curriculum, and I'm joined with Chris Strozak, the individual who conducted the study of technology education and the engineering pathway of Project Lead the Way for the Wauwatosa School District. I'm going to turn it over to Chris to have him share a little bit more about himself.
Hello, thank you, Jessica, for the introduction. I am Chris Strozak. I'm the owner and president of Career Tech Solutions. I'm a former engineering instructor and administrator from the state of Wisconsin with 20 years of experience working with CT programs globally.
In alignment with Policy 2210, which outlines the curriculum development process and is part of the Strategic Plan Objective 1.1, an audit of our current technology engineering and Project Lead the Way programming was completed during the fall of 2022. The aim of this report is to provide an update to the Board of Education and the community on the findings from the audit, as well as key considerations to improve the future state of technology education within the Wauwatosa School District. I'd like to start by sharing some background regarding the audit process. A multifaceted data approach and process took place in our review of technology education and Project Lead the Way to best understand our current state. The approach engaged all stakeholders. This study included surveys sent to all caregivers, educators, and students. Chris engaged in an environmental scan in which he studied technology education across southeastern Wisconsin in order to compare our current findings and opportunities to other organizations. This study elicited information from focus groups and conversations with educators to understand their practices, needs, and current state in programming. Chris engaged in observations and studied enrollment trends and student grades to develop a clear picture of strengths and areas for improvement that exist within technology education and Project Lead the Way.
In an effort to build awareness of best practice, I will highlight 5 key program elements. Starting with pathways, students have ample access to courses in a variety of pathways aligned to local labor markets. These pathways will include a minimum of 2 courses and feature rigorous, fluid, standards-aligned curriculum. Second are industry-recognized credentials, or IRCs. These are student opportunities to earn micro-credentials or badges that certify mastery of skills critical to that industry or specific occupation. Next are work-based learning opportunities, or WBLs. These are school-supervised experiences that allow students to observe, train, and/or work with an employer to discover how school instruction is put into action while gaining applicable worksite skills. Next are dual enrollment opportunities. This is where students can earn college credit while at our high school level courses. And last are career and technical education student organizations, otherwise known as CTSOs. An example of a CTSO in the Wauwatosa School District is Skills USA. In Skills USA, your students can compete regionally at the state and national levels among their peers. The first step of this report is to share the audit findings to elevate the current state of tech ed within the Wauwatosa School District. I will share some of the high-level overview findings. Please refer to the final report for more information. As shown, you will find the current course offerings in the Wauwatosa School District. Our middle school features 3 Project Lead the Way courses, starting in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We have 4 Project Lead the Way courses at the high school level, starting with freshmen, moving all the way through 12th grade. We have 7 traditional tech ed courses, again, that service our 9th grade through 12th grade students, and 2 launch courses that are primarily comprised of juniors and seniors. The environmental scan consisted of 13 school districts that were studied. Online resources, websites, and course descriptions, along with virtual meetings with leadership from each district, were used to quantify data. Additionally, the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction school report cards were analyzed from each district, as shown on this slide. Wauwatosa School District ranked relatively low in the number of courses, Project Lead the Way and Tech Ed, compared to the enrollment of the school district. We feel this data point is strongly related to the low number of IRCs and work-based learning in Tech Ed and Project Lead the Way reported by the Wauwatosa School District found in the Wisconsin's DPI state report card. Group 1 were families. In Group 1, there was 61 responses. The theme that emerged was 64% of the families were unaware of programming inside of the Tech Ed and Project Lead the Way department. Group 2 were high school students. We received 13 responses, 12 of which were from Project Lead the Way, our IED course. The theme that emerged from this group was 85% of the students were not taking a next level course. Group 3 were our middle school students. We received 105 responses. The theme that emerged was 66% of the students were interested in adding a construction course in their learning. Group 4 were staff surveys. We had 6 responses. The theme that emerged was 67% of the staff felt there was not a strong alignment 6-12 in the Wauwatosa School District. Next, we will review enrollment trends within the school district. This slide shows the courses and enrollments for each in a snapshot at Wauwatosa East High School. When analyzing just the traditional Tech Ed courses at Wauwatosa East High School, we can see a very nice upward trend of enrollment numbers starting from 2019 to our current 22-23 school years. We also analyzed Project Lead the Way at East High School, and we noticed a downward trend starting from 2019 through our 22-23 years that we analyzed. Next, you'll see the snapshot for Wauwatosa West High School. This includes the traditional Tech Ed courses and Project Lead the Way course enrollments. Specifically, when analyzing just again Tech Ed, we see an upward trend starting in 2019 to 2022-23. And between the last 2 years, we see a stabilization of growth between the two. Our next category that we looked at for West is our Project Lead the Way numbers. And again, similarly to East, we see a reduction or a downward trend of our high school enrollment for Project Lead the Way. Next is our enrollment snapshot for our middle schools. On top, you'll see Longfellow, followed by Whitman. This snapshot again covers the number of students enrolled by school year. This graph gives a representation of both Longfellow and Whitman, and you can see that there's a pretty steady enrollment trend at both schools. At this time, I'd like to share some thoughts on recommendations on strengthening the Tech Ed and Project Lead the Way programs in the Wauwatosa School District. We will focus on 3 key categories: curriculum and instruction, facilities, and communication and awareness. The first category is curriculum and instruction. We need to make sure that the technology engineering program is aligned to standards and communicates the outcomes we want students to know and do. These outcomes should emphasize skills. Engagement in professional learning and standards-based curriculum will be needed as well. We will need to provide time and support to develop common project rubrics and visual examples of projects that meet each standard of the rubric as a step to relate grading and reporting for student learning. Support will be needed on instructional strategies, providing time and development on developing lessons, reviewing materials, and utilizing materials will support the technology environments as well. Within the final report, I break down the category of enrollment, engagement, and course offerings further, but ultimately this is an area highlighting that needs continued study, specifically on enrollment trends and the return on investment of specific programming or specific courses. Industry advisories are a necessary component of future programming. These should exist in each pathway and should include union and non-union companies. These entities will help steer industry relevant instruction, increase work-based learning opportunities, increase real-world project opportunities. And finally, I found the need to review future budget and utilization of grants and for technology and Project Lead the Way. These include things like developing a separate Project Lead the Way budget in the high school tracks to track spending and ROI, and to continue to monitor needs and grant opportunities to offset costs to evolve the program in both Project Lead the Way and traditional tech ed. Next, facilities. These were broke down by specific needs by level or school. Starting with the middle school, there is a need to ensure courses are equipped with all the supporting materials and equipment prescribed by Project Lead the Way. At East High School, it is important that we ensure classrooms are available and directly accessible to the shops with suitable furniture. It is important to develop a technology plan to address the dated computer lab. Currently, the computers are struggling to run particular softwares that are required by various curriculum vendors. And finally, at East, Wauwatosa School District needs to ensure courses are equipped with all the supporting materials and equipment prescribed by Project Lead the Way. At West High School, there is a need to ensure all labs are fully functional and organized. West has a extreme shortage of storage. We'd like to note that clutter can lead to safety concerns and would be best suited to eliminate as much clutter as possible. Furthermore, it's been identified that dust is entering the lab from an unfinished space between the wood shop and metal shop. This condition will shorten the lifespan of those machines. Additionally, numerous extension cords were utilized in the manufacturing lab. Our recommendation would be to add additional power outlets to minimize extension cord usage along lines of safety. Furthermore, and similar to East, there's a need to develop a technology plan to address the dated computer lab attached to the Tech Ed and Project Lead the Way spaces to ensure that all equipment and software prescribed by Project Lead the Way runs as prescribed. Finally, communication and awareness is part of a strong technology education program. Wauwatosa School District should build a platform to share, invite, and celebrate technology education. These recommendations could include building a technology and Project Lead the Way website featuring each school, developing ongoing parent communication, monitor best practice within schools, leverage and scale best practices, and again, celebrate student successes like things like apprenticeship signing days, awards from CTSOs, and any other academic achievements by students in the department.
With that, Chris and I would like to thank you for your time. The next steps for the Division of Academic Performance will be to outline the strategic action steps we will take to develop our future state of technology education and Project Lead the Way within the Wauwatosa School District. We will make sure that these action steps are in alignment with the audit recommendations. And then we'll begin executing the strategic actions of this plan. We will provide an update on our progress to the board and community in October of 2023.